Let's talk Tanya for the 13th of Elul of a leap year. In yesterday's Tanya, we explained that every single year on Rosh Hashanah, a new light, a new divine energy enters this world from Chachma. And the question is why? Why do we need a new light? What's wrong with the light from the previous year? Why can't we have one constant light ever since the 6 days of creation till today? So the Rebbe draws over here upon the Kabbalistic understanding of what happens every single year on Rosh Hashanah. The mystics explain that every single year, as Rosh Hashanah is approaching, as the sun is setting on the day before Rosh Hashanah, it sounds funny, but God loses interest in creation. He loses interest in creating. He loses interest in being our king. And the obvious question is, if he loses interest in creation, how do we exist? After all, this is something that we've learned many times, that we exist only by virtue of the fact that God is creating us at every moment. And the answer actually is that we are living on fumes for a little while, for those few hours from when Rosh Hashanah enters until the next morning when we go to the synagogue, we go to shul, and we blow the shofar, and we daven, and we beg, and we plead with Hashem, and we say, please be the king over the entire world in your glory. And through doing that, through blowing the shofar and through the davening, we inspire God, as it were. We arouse within him the desire to create worlds, and then once again, we have a whole new flow of energy that enters, but it's a new flow. It is not the same as the previous year. It is a new flow that comes from Chachma every single year. Now, when God created the world originally, so he created the world, he had his own desire to create the world, and there wasn't anyone over here to arouse that desire, but that was what happened once, and ever since then, God decided that everything has to happen through our work and through our efforts. Even the very fact that he wants to create worlds has to be a result of the work that we do and the prayers that we say. Now, it's important to understand, it's not only that we have a new energy that enters the world every single year, but every single year, the energy that enters all of creation on Rosh Hashanah is a higher and greater energy than any energy that ever was in creation beforehand. With this, we can go back to the pasuk, the verse that we started analyzing in yesterday's Tanya. Tamid einei Hashem elikecha ba mereishis hashana vad achar shana. We said the eyes of God are constantly upon the land, upon Israel, from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Eyes are a metaphor for Chachma, for God's wisdom. We know that the wise people of the congregation are known as Einei Ha'eda, the eyes of the congregation. And that's also because Chachma is compared to eyesight. Just like when you see something, you're absorbing, you're taking it in. Chachma is the original intake. When we process things, whether from outside of us or from the subconscious. So wisdom and eyes are synonymous with each other. So when we say, Einei Hashem elikecha ba, the eyes of God are upon the land, we mean that there is the flow that comes from God's Chachma that enters the land of Israel. And by the way, through the land of Israel, that's where it goes originally, that's where it starts. But then it filters to all of creation. And Mereishis Hashana vad achar shana, from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Not constantly, not perpetually. Because it's that energy flow begins on Rosh Hashanah, it ends at the end of the year, and next year we have a new flow of an entirely higher and greater light and energy. And with this, the Alter Rebbe is turning to his Chassidim and saying, I know you've given charity last year, and you've given charity 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And you might be losing your passion and your excitement. It's growing old. But the Alter Rebbe says, if you're in tune with the energies of creation, nothing grows old. Why? Because this year, the energy present is completely a new energy. And not only is it a new energy, but because it's a greater energy, you should be more excited this year to give tzedakah. And you should give more tzedakah than last year also. And this is a lesson for us in all areas of life, certainly in tzedakah, which is the primary intent of this letter of the Alter Rebbe, but in all areas of life, when we become a more spiritual people, and a little more in tune with the spiritual undercurrents, the spiritual energies, we realize every year is something new. And therefore, as the energy becomes greater and greater, our service of Hashem and our excitement in serving Hashem also has to grow alongside that. With this, we've concluded this letter. Tomorrow we start a new chapter, chapter 15. And for a change, it will not be on the topic of charity. Instead, it's going to be a lengthy discussion about the divine attributes and what they're all about.